Calaroga Shark Media.
Saddle up your horse, because I'm putting together a posse. Hello, I'm Johnny Mac with your daily comedy news, a daily briefing on stand-up comedy, comedians, and the comedy industry. A sentence the algorithm loves, but I don't have time for that because I am ticked off. Mike Birbiglia has a podcast. His guest is John Mulaney. Listen to this crap. I've edited this for pacing, but listen to this.
What do you think when people rip off your voice and your style?
Dude, I've heard they do, but I can't think of anyone that does.
We know who did.
I don't, actually. You want to write it down? Write the first letter. Oh, I'm not that familiar with that person.
Okay.
But I'll check it out.
I just watched it the other day. I was like, come on.
Interesting. Okay.
What are we doing?
That's cool, though.
I guess.
Of course it's cool.
Okay.
How'd you feel about people that ripped you off?
Well, there's 2 or 3.
Do you like it?
It's fine.
Yeah.
It's fine.
All right, John Mulaney and Mike Birbiglia. Who are we accusing of stealing John Mulaney's act? Now, they didn't name names, but one comedian thinks it's him. Let's go to friend of the show and 2026 Comedian of the Year, Gianmarco Soresi. This clip has some salty language, and I've trimmed it a lot for pacing, but let's let Gianmarco weigh in on this.
There is something that we need to talk about. I don't want to name names, so I'm gonna write it down on a piece of paper, and let's just, so there's a person I want to talk about. Oh, how about a big ass B? To quote my favorite comedian, John Mulaney. When I first started stand up, like when I really made that decision, I saw Mike Birbiglia did a show at the Bell House, and it was so cool because it was him working out new material. Like he hosted it. And then he had comics go in between who were doing their real killer just set, and then he came out and was working on new material. In fact, I would say that was very much the inspiration for my Silver Lining show. So I'm stealing from you too, buddy. I wish I could go back in time to that Bell House show and just whisper in my ear, one day one of those comedians on stage is going to talk shit about you to another one of those comedians on stage on a podcast. So I was on a plane. Such a great place to get news that hurts your feelings on a plane. Yeah. Just perfect. And I think it was 2 weeks ago, maybe, Pete Holmes went on Working It Out, Birbiglia's podcast, Working It Out, I believe it's what's called, which I'm subscribed to.
Yeah.
and people said, hey, Gianmarco got a shout out on Working It Out, and you go, oh, cool. And Pete Holmes was talking about just good JFL sets and mentioned Shane Gillis and me, and it was very nice. And then I went on the Patreon just to make sure all the new episode had dropped, and all these comments like, hey, another mention on the Working It Out pod. And I'm like, oh, wow, I can't wait to get on it someday. Yeah. Once every cast member of SNL has made an appearance, I'm so excited. and it was it was basically they were talking about shit talking, and Birbiglia was like, well, how do you feel when people rip you off or copy you? And he said, oh, there's one person. And he said, write it down. And so he took out a piece of paper and wrote a name of someone who he says ripping off Mulaney and showed him. And now let me just say, because someone planted it in my ear right before this podcast. Mm-hmm. If it's not me, we're going to delete this episode.
Okay.
But who else could it be? Who else is ripping off John Mulaney more than me?
Gianmarco ripping off John Mulaney? As the kids say, GTFO with that. The only time I ever put Mulaney and Gianmarco together in my brain was when Gianmarco was on this show and slipped into a Mulaney impression. When he was deliberately doing Mulaney, yes, he was doing Mulaney. But day to day, I don't hear it at all, Mike Birbiglia and John Mulaney. Again, GTFO with that noise. Speaking of John Mulaney, he was part of the Best Thing Ever Creative Platforms campaign during the Super Bowl. Apparently this came and went. I didn't catch wind of it until I was putting the show together. John Mulaney was providing commentary on Super Bowl commercials in real time and shared on social media. Here's John Mulaney commenting on the polar bear commercial.
Kraft mac and cheese is better than commercials with polar bears. We're ready to enjoy in 10 minutes. Those polar bears show up 8 hours before rolling to get into hair and makeup. Then they have their squads, all the people that hang around them. You have to get a trailer for them, and not a half trailer. You got to get a full banger. Then they're going to go over the contract midway through the shoot and go, I didn't agree to scarf. I didn't agree to sunglasses. It's a nightmare. It's why I left the biz. Kraft mac and cheese. Best thing ever.
Wait, was that Gianmarco Soresi? No, it wasn't. You know how I know? Because it wasn't funny. Get out of here, Birbiglia and Mulaney. Get out of here with that. Michael Che, he and Colin Jost were in a commercial. People are upset at them that they were promoting sports gambling. Michael Che on Instagram posted, look, I got a mortgage, which I get. I also have heating bills. You guys can hate on the commercials all you want, but have you seen my heating bill? I'm not doing a bit. Holy cow. And February is going to be worse. I can't take the cold anymore, man. It's going to end. At heart, I'm Jimmy Buffett. All right, while we're on our horses, while we've got a posse together, let's keep riding and head on over to NBC headquarters. I saw this on the Facebook group of the Letterman podcast. NBC's turning 100. They did this video montage of all the great things that ever happened on NBC. You know, things like Marcelo Hernandez. He's in the video. Things like Heroes. Yeah, Heroes. Out of 100 years of NBC, you're picking Heroes? That made the video. You know who did not make the video? David Letterman. Are you kidding me? You put Marcelo Hernandez, who does one thing well, but one thing only, in this video, and you don't put David Letterman? GTFO, as the kids say. Out on Netflix today, Cat Williams has a new special. It's his 4th for the streamer. It's titled The Last Report. In The Last Report, Cat Williams delivers bold takes on conspiracy celebrities and the world at large. Looking forward to that one. Jim Gaffigan's got a new gig. He will be in a movie called New England Toys. New England Toys is a mysterious period thriller that has already started filming in Buffalo, New York. It is unclear what year or decade the film takes place in. Speaking of Jim Gaffigan, the folks over at BreakingBourbon.com reviewed Father Time's Precious Batch Bourbon Empty Nester Strength 4th and Long. Release date, November 2025. Proof, 125.6. Mash bill, undisclosed. Color, caramel. SRP, $230. Now, I was like, what's SRP? That brought me to srpwhiskey.com. I'm sorry if the rest of you are like, John, everyone knows what this is. For the one person who doesn't, SRP Whiskey is a base platform where visitors to the site can review retail pricing for most whiskeys on the market. All right, so Gaffigan charging $230 for this thing? Yeah. Breaking Bourbon tells us nose, orange zest, summer fruits, peach tea, medicinal undertone. The palate, stewed fruits, kettle corn, raspberry jam, brown sugar, baking spices on the back end. The finish, raspberry, honey, orange rind, dried apricot, and lingering spice, which I almost misread as lingerie spice, which would be differently interesting. Breaking Bourbon tells us for their 4th release in the series, Father Time Precious Batch Bourbon Empty Nester Strength 4th and Long, great title, Jim, is a solid release from a celebrity brand that is just getting started. Gaffigan is planning 5 releases in the series. Wait, and we're up to number 4. Do you think he'll stop? I don't think he'll stop. With each release representing one of his 5 children, though they're not personally identified with each release. As Gaffigan states, while I was thrilled to know a new child was on the way, a fear of uncertainty overtook me like a football team facing 4th and long. Parenting is hard. Raising 3 kids is exponentially harder, but much like going for it on 4th down, when you make it, there's a feeling of invincibility. The same principles that inspired the previous versions of Father Time have also guided the creation of our new release, 4th and Long. The endeavor is still just me and Stu tasting barrels and putting together a smooth and delicious bourbon. Each bottle is personally signed by me, which was a pain in the ass, but totally worth it, much like fatherhood. Maybe that explains the $230. Breaking Bourbon tells us it's refreshing to see a bourbon brand from a celebrity who not only enjoys the spirit, but is actively involved with its creation at the ground level. Based on this, I'm excited to see what Father Bourbon does next. The sample used for this review was provided to us at no cost, courtesy its respective company. We thank them for allowing us to review with no strings attached. This next story is sad. I'm going to drop a bomb on you, so just be prepared. And then the story after it, I have a very fun story, okay? But this is about to get really sad. Just, you've been warned. I should not do this story. This story is not fun at all. It's not funny at all. It's not even comedy, but it's core to who I am. As I tell people who know me, there's just like a handful of things you have to know about me that explain everything about me. One of them, which I'll share with you right now. Again, nothing funny here. This is about to get really sad, actually. When I was a young boy, like 4 years old, my first dog did not live very long, and that has affected me my entire life. So I am bothered by this story from the Puppy Bowl. Did you see this story from the Puppy Bowl? This is heartbreaking, and I can't shake it, and I have to talk about it to get it out of my system. One of the puppies was Tegan. Tegan was born with neurological issues and a severely curved spine and almost died from pneumonia shortly after arriving at Connecticut Animal Sanctuary Perfect Imperfections Rescue. And here's all these clips, and they're on social media, and you see this dog, and like you can't look away, and I kept looking, and I was like, oh, God bless you, dog. So I wake up on Monday. All right, I'm going to drop a bomb on you. Hit stop. I'm about to drop a bomb. I learned from the New York Post, Tegan the puppy died 3 months ago, before the Puppy Bowl. Poor Tegan, whose life was hard enough anyway, became severely ill with pneumonia. The sanctuary said in a Facebook post it will be bittersweet to see her on TV. So I see this on Monday morning, and I'm like, yikes, I realize this is supposedly a comedy podcast. So I don't know what to do. There's a sanctuary called Perfect Imperfections Rescue. I'll probably make a donation. I donate to several animal charities. Again, I was unfamiliar with any of this until like 4 p.m. on Sunday. But I have it open here, and I see you can make some donations, and I'm actually going to do that. So some good comes out of Tegan's short time on this planet. Okay, now how do you get out of that, John? Let me tell you about Adam Sandler. Remember last week I told you a story, and as the story goes, Adam Sandler's daughter was there trying to buy a handbag, and the people were mean and all that? Well, Adam Sandler has commented on this. Adam Sandler was at the Santa Barbara International Film Festival, and he went out of his way to say, by the way, there's something on the internet talking about that dumb thing. I've been hearing about this thing, and I saw it, and it's just insane. It's just this made-up weird thing that people ask me about, and I'm just like, I've never heard of this in my life. That story was 100% insane and made up, and not a word of it is true. Sandler said he was sent the TikTok video by a friend who asked him what happened. Sandler said, that video's nonsense, but other videos of him getting In-N-Out Burger late at night were true. Amy Schumer likes when we talk about her, so to talk about her we shall. She was on Instagram, posted some more pictures. In one of the captions, she addressed her increased social media presence and admitted that it's due to her feeling strong and beautiful following the success of her health and weight loss journey. Amy Schumer wrote, pics of yourself when you're finally feeling strong and beautiful are not a cry for help. They're a celebration of life and health. Love to the single moms out there. Veer Oz commented on Twitter about Bad Bunny. I thought Bad Bunny was fantastic. The people who were upset about Bad Bunny were crazy to begin with. Now, do I normally drive around listening to Bad Bunny's music? I don't, but in terms of a halftime show, I thought it was fantastic and I was highly entertained. Veer Daz posted, it's kind of weird to complain about not knowing the words to a Bad Bunny song and saying it's un-American when most of you don't know the words to the Second Amendment either. Ouch. Remember the comedy club from like 2 weeks ago, maybe it was at this point? There was a comedian who had said jerky things about the 2 people in Minnesota who were murdered. Well, Camp Bar's Laugh Camp Comedy Club has announced a benefit show featuring local comics aimed at covering losses for the staff who didn't make any money because of the 6 canceled shows. Club owner Bill Collins tells Bring Me the News that tonight's benefit aims to cover lost wages and tips for staff, which includes bartenders, tech, and box office crew. Any extra will go towards helping the club recover from potential legal fees and approximately $18,000 that the comedian's management company CAA says the club needs to pay for the canceled shows. Club owner Collins says comedians quickly reached out with offers to perform the benefit show. The lineup for tonight, which promises a few surprises, I'll come back to that, includes Kadisha Cooper, Pierre Douglas, Maggie Ferris, Ben Katzner, Rick Logan, Pearl Rose, Senthil Rajaskaran, Tommy Ryman, and James Stanley. Now, I was hoping one of the surprises would be Dave Chappelle, but Dave's not scheduled to be in town until the 16th. The Moontower Comedy Festival announced more people to the lineup. Newcomers to the schedule include Meg Statler, Sarah Sherman, Lucy Darling, Jenna Friedman, and Murray Hill. Moontower, 10-plus venues in downtown Austin from April 7th through the 19th. Many people already announced. I'm not going to read you 50 names, but let me just scroll here and see some names you might know. Beth Stelling, Blair Sochi, Brad Williams, Carolyn Ray, Cristela Alonso, Deborah DiGiovanni, Doug Benson, Emil Wakim, Greg Warren, Guy Breenham, Ivan Decker, Jason Sklar, which means both Sklars will be there. They don't do solo shows, I don't think. I've never heard of one of the Sklars doing a show. And we're going alphabetical by first name, so I'm assuming we're going to get to Randy Sklar, Jay Jordan, Catherine Blanford, remember that name. She's fantastic. In fact, we have Mike from the Letterman podcast on assignment at the JFL Vancouver Comedy Festival. Go see Catherine. Leslie Jones, who could be in Comedy Survivor trouble. Oh, I didn't talk about Comedy Survivor. Jay Leno voted off. Yeah, we had a tie this week. And as per the rules, the AI had to decide who was going home. Was it Leslie Jones or Jay Leno? And the AI sent Jay Leno home. Leslie Jones survived Comedy Survivor. If you'd like to take part in Comedy Survivor, go to the Facebook group, Daily Comedy News Podcast Group. You'll find a little cartoon there of me and Jay Leno, and in that thread, vote someone off the island. All right, Leslie Jones is going to Austin. Mark Maron, Matt Bronger, Nish Kumar, Randy Sklar, Sarah Sherman, talked about her already, Virdas, and Yakov Smirnov. Fantastic. And that is your comedy news for today. I'll see you tomorrow.